A ceramic statue of Donald Trump meditating has gained renewed attention online. The sculpture, created by Chinese artist Hong Jinshi in 2021, depicts Trump dressed in traditional Chinese monk attire, seated in a meditative pose with legs crossed and hands forming the dhyana mudra. His half-closed eyes and solemn expression present a stark contrast to his usual dominant image. Following Trump's return to the White House, these ceramic sculptures have once again become a hot item online. Depending on the size, prices range from $145 to $2,700 US. Each statue bears the phrase, "Make your company great again," a playful twist on Trump's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again." Imitation versions have also appeared on platforms like Amazon and the Chinese e-commerce site Temu, selling for as low as $45 US. These Zen-inspired Trump statues first went viral in 2021 after debuting on e-commerce platforms. They quickly made national headlines but were soon removed from Chinese platforms. Regarding the statue's renewed popularity, the designer of the work noted that while the sculptures have been taken down from Chinese platforms and related advertisements deleted, many people still order them through alternative channels. He remarked, "Since his return, it feels like the world has become lively again. He's back in the headlines every day. I think he's just as fascinating as before." This Chinese designer's perception of Trump is representative of many views in China. The statue's popularity reflects Trump's surprisingly high level of admiration in the country. This is noteworthy considering Trump's implementation of tariffs against China during his first term, which escalated into a historic US-China trade war. At the time, Chinese state media harshly criticized Trump, while social media was flooded with complaints and insults, accusing him of damaging US-China relations and stifling China's rise. However, the official propaganda did not fully align with public opinion. While many citizens with limited access to diverse information sources were influenced by state narratives and held negative views of Trump, a significant number of Chinese people expressed support for him, even if it meant enduring economic sanctions and hardships. During Trump's 2020 re-election campaign, videos of the Trump dance garnered millions of likes and hundreds of thousands of comments on Chinese social media platforms. The overwhelming support for a foreign leader known for his anti-communist stance was extraordinary in China's tightly controlled society. Although fewer videos of Trump's dance have appeared on Chinese platforms after his recent election, many imitation clips by Chinese users surfaced. Some even shared tips on mimicking his style: pout, clap, and punch energetically. However, most of these videos were eventually deleted. It is remarkable that Trump has amassed such a significant fan base in China, despite strict information control and high-pressure policies. Many Chinese fans have even given him nicknames. For example, Chuan Jianguo, Trump Nation Builder, suggests a hope that Trump will help dismantle the Chinese Communist Party's regime. Another nickname, Dong Wang, the Understanding King, implies that Trump truly understands the struggles and needs of the Chinese people. As Trump returns to power, Chinese state media continues to issue insincere statements filled with empty phrases like "strengthen cooperation for mutual benefit." Beneath this facade, however, lies deep resentment and fear of Trump. Public reactions have sharply contrasted with official narratives, with strong grassroots support for Trump's anti-communist cabinet, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, marking the start of a wave of pro-Trump sentiment. Rubio, a senator from Florida, was unanimously confirmed by the U.S. Senate as the 72nd Secretary of State on Trump's inauguration day, becoming the first cabinet member appointed under the new administration. During his confirmation hearing on January 15th, held by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Rubio, who has been sanctioned twice by the Chinese government, condemned the Chinese Communist Party for achieving global superpower status through lies, deceit, hacking, and theft. He warned that if the U.S. doesn't change its policies, the CCP will remain the greatest threat to American prosperity in the 21st century. Rubio also cautioned China against making rash and irrational moves regarding Taiwan. On January 16th, during a regular press briefing, a reporter from Agence France-Presse asked the Chinese Foreign Ministry about Rubio's strong stance. The ministry spokesperson avoided the question. Interestingly, since Trump was re-elected, the official transcript of the briefing on the ministry's website referred to Rubio using a new transliteration of his name. It was a different Chinese character. Previously, both Chinese state media and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had consistently used this Chinese character to refer to him. It was as if the CCP wanted to save the embarrassment of having to remove the sanctions on Rubio by changing him to a different person on paper. As a prominent hardliner on China, Rubio has long been labeled by the CCP as an anti-China vanguard. His criticism of the CCP's repression of Uyghurs and Hong Kongers led to 2 rounds of sanctions against him. The first occurred in July 2020, after the US imposed sanctions on 4 Chinese officials over human rights abuses against Uyghurs. In retaliation, Beijing sanctioned Rubio and 2 other US lawmakers. The second came in August 2020, when the US sanctioned 11 Chinese and Hong Kong officials for undermining Hong Kong's autonomy. At the time, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian accused the US of interfering in China's internal affairs and announced reciprocal sanctions on Rubio alongside other lawmakers, scholars, and human rights advocates. During both incidents, CCP state media such as Xinhua News Agency extensively covered the sanctions, using the name for Rubio, which were written in the original form. However, the ministry's website now retroactively lists the name as was the updated Chinese character in transcripts from July 13th and August 10th, 2020. This subtle name change sparked widespread discussion online. As early as November 2024, when Rubio was nominated as Secretary of State, many speculated that the CCP might use a name change to sidestep its previous stance. Online commenters joked, "The CCP has already found a solution. Just change his name so the sanctioned Rubio and the Secretary of State Rubio aren't the same person." We sanctioned Rubio, not Rubio. Rubio is the past. Now he's respectfully the other Rubio. A former Chinese consulate official in Sydney, Chen Yonglin, explained, "Names of important figures are determined by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Translation Office and Xinhua's naming office. These names are typically standardized." He said, this change likely involved internal discussions to save face for the CCP. The implication is that the Rubio sanctioned before was, while this Rubio as Secretary of State is someone else entirely. The CCP never admits its mistakes, and this renaming attempt is unnecessary. On January 22nd, during another regular Foreign Ministry briefing, questions about China-related issues under Trump's new administration, as well as Rubio's continued sanctions, dominated the discussion. One reporter specifically asked if China officially changed Rubio's transliteration from to. The spokesperson Mao Ning appeared visibly uncomfortable in response.
我还没有注意到,
Oh, I hadn't noticed that, but I can look into it. I think what's more important is probably his English name, though.
Some online commentators mocked the situation, saying, "You journalists are relentless. They tried to play a clever word game, but you wouldn't let it go. You've really embarrassed them." During Trump's first term, the CCP noticed his administration's tendency to differentiate between the Chinese people and the CCP. This suggested that the US's ultimate goal was to delegitimize the CCP regime. The CCP feels frustrated with Trump because they cannot influence future US policies. In the past, they relied on strong business ties to manage US-China tensions, believing there were limits to the strain. That confidence is gone. Trump's approach to China largely depends on the hawkish members of his team. Associate Professor Chen Shimin at National Taiwan University's Department of Political Science noted that Trump's first term fundamentally shifted US and Western policy toward China. The CCP began to be treated as a strategic competitor, marking a paradigm shift. He added that Trump's second-term cabinet, including the Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, will likely continue the same hardline policies. On trade, Trump may impose high tariffs to force the CCP to make concessions. Technology disputes, particularly over semiconductors, will also persist. On ideology, Trump's stance will remain consistent. Chen explained that Xi Jinping heavily relies on exports but cannot resolve China's structural economic issues. In 2024, exports hit a record high, accounting for around 20% of GDP. This overproduction has led to increased exports, fueling trade disputes with other countries. Chen believes Trump may adopt even stricter tariff policies, dealing a blow to China's economy and significantly undermining the CCP's legitimacy. In the past, the CCP maintained power by promoting economic growth, convincing people that hard work would lead to prosperity, without needing to think about politics. Now, the people are starting to see these issues as political. Trump's anti-communist stance hasn't wavered. In 2018, he urged countries to resist socialism. In 2023, he called for communism to be eradicated. By May 2024, Trump openly denounced Marxism as a cult from hell. Recently, human trafficking linked to China's Belt and Road projects in Myanmar was exposed. Allegedly, some patriotic businessmen involved are CCP security agents using their role to promote infiltration and influence abroad. Additionally, insiders have revealed to U.S. agencies that Xi Jinping's strategic focus has been on targeting the U.S. since 2018. The U.S. will definitely not tolerate the CCP's China Dream, making conflict between the two nations inevitable. In October 2024, the U.S. Congress released a report titled The CCP's Political Warfare, outlining 5 attacks the U.S. faces: unrestricted warfare, united front tactics, elite capture, narrative control, and manipulation of Chinese communities. The report emphasized that many government agencies remain unaware of these threats and called for an all-government response. In reality, the CCP has long waged unrestricted warfare against the U.S. In fall 2023, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan revealed during a closed meeting that CCP hackers could shut down dozens of U.S. ports, power grids, and other infrastructure at will. This revelation shed light on the CCP's China Dream and its initiatives like the Belt and Road and the Confucius Institutes, which align with the communist expansionist goals of liberating humanity. Historically, the Soviet Union challenged the US ideologically, militarily, and politically. Today, the CCP challenges the US on all fronts. During his inauguration speech, Trump emphasized faith in God as key to making America great again. In contrast, the CCP, rooted in atheism, aims to defeat and replace the US, a goal Trump has vowed to resist. On January 20th, Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Instead of immediately imposing new tariffs on Chinese goods, he signed an order delaying the ban on TikTok. He later stated that imposing tariffs of 25% or even 100% could pressure Beijing into selling TikTok. Trump also warned of plans to impose 100% tariffs on goods from BRICS countries, including China and Russia. On January 21st, he announced plans to introduce a 10% tariff on Chinese goods starting February 1st to punish the CCP for fentanyl exports to the US. Some have speculated that as a businessman, Trump prioritizes profits and would compromise at critical moments. CCP propaganda even hinted during the 2020 election that they preferred Trump to win. Trump dismissed such claims, saying they're an insult to him. China will do anything they can to have me lose this race. Donald Trump's return to the presidency, along with his efforts to counter the CCP during his first term, has led many in China to hope he can help dismantle the communist regime. On January 18th, well-known Shanghai activists Gu Guoping, Yu Zhonghuan, Zhang Shunbao, and Liu Dongbao held a gathering to congratulate Trump on his inauguration. They also called on him to pay attention to human rights in China. The group displayed a banner, took photos, and shared them online. These images circulated widely on social media, including in WeChat groups. Gu Guoping is a retired university professor in Shanghai, who has been a longtime activist after facing government-backed demolition of his property. Over the years, he has endured significant persecution, including 6 violent assaults by individuals hired by the authorities. He has spent more than 20 years petitioning, during which both of his parents passed away under distressing circumstances in a nursing home. Despite his efforts, his grievances remain unresolved. Under the CCP's authoritarian rule, ordinary citizens lack true freedom, and activists are frequent targets of state violence. Openly celebrating Trump's presidency and making such demands could lead to imprisonment at any moment. Mr. Wu, a business owner from a southern provincial capital, said the CCP is nearing its end. He described China's current economic downturn as a result of systemic issues, not just a cyclical decline. Wu stated that many people were thrilled by Trump's election. He noted that while Trump's actions against the CCP might indirectly affect ordinary Chinese citizens, many now believe that making sacrifices to end the regime's tyranny is worthwhile. Mr. Gao, a resident of Jiangsu province, said, "The Communist Party is a cancer on human society. As long as it exists, humanity is doomed. My friend, who campaigned for food safety and against corruption in healthcare, lost his life as a result of espionage tactics used by the party. Now, we're seeing atrocities like large-scale human trafficking tied to telecom scam operations which have connections to various Chinese local governments. The party's leaders live in constant fear of internal power struggles while harming people both within and outside their borders. Isn't that terrifying? I hope Trump can help the Chinese people end this tyranny." Another citizen, Mr. Wang, said Trump will likely push for full economic decoupling and ramp up efforts to isolate the CCP. He hopes the US will tear down China's Great Firewall or use technologies like Starlink to wage an information campaign. Wang believes exposing the truth to Chinese citizens, particularly the younger generation, could quickly turn public sentiment against the regime. More young people in China are using VPNs to access uncensored information from abroad. They are beginning to understand that Trump's tariff policies, such as the anticipated second phase of the trade war, are not aimed at harming ordinary people, but rather the CCP elite and its regime. Trump's energetic persona has also resonated with many Chinese youth. Amid the growing lying flat trend of disengagement, some have even viewed him as a source of inspiration. Trump's resilience, facing setbacks yet continuing to fight, has offered hope to young people who feel they've lost motivation in life. Trump's meditation statue and the Trump dance have gone viral once again, clearly transcending cultural boundaries. As a figure beloved by the Chinese public, Trump stands in stark contrast to the CCP red idols deliberately crafted by the Chinese Communist Party. Trump's inauguration speech, where he vowed to launch a revolution of common sense, struck a chord with young Chinese citizens. In a society where the rule of law has collapsed and truth is distorted, his words felt like a wake-up call. For many who have grown numb, his message was a powerful reminder of the value of common sense. The admiration for Trump among Chinese youth reflects more than just personal support for him. It's an expression of dissatisfaction with the CCP's current system and a yearning for truth, freedom, and hope.